All right, everybody, what is going on? I just got home from work and I just got done doing the calcs here for the new Broly and Super Saiyan Trio unit here coming out for the worldwide celebration. As you can see on screen, they do drop here in a few hours, so 1 a.m. Central Time. If you guys aren't sure what time they're going to be dropping in your time zone, go to Dokkan info, link in the description below, and then up here you can go to cards, you can see on your screen, go to schedule, and then you'll be brought to this page right here, and you'll be able to see the countdown in your local time. Make sure that the game is set to the global version. You guys can't really see it, but over here next to the my name, log out of Twitter, there's a little American flag or like a UK flag or whatever over there. Set that to like your applicable region if available, and then you will be able to see what time the countdown, or like you'll be able to see the countdown for these units and what time they're dropping. So probably by the time you guys see this video, they will be out. But if you're watching this as soon as it releases, then we have about 3 hours here before they drop. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the calcs here. We'll just talk about, I'll do a very brief overview of the cards, and then we'll actually get into the calcs. If you guys just want to see the straight up calcs, they are already on my Twitter, so you guys can go see these there. They're already posted. You can you don't have to listen to me ramble. You can just go look at the calcs right here. They're already available for you right there. Link to my Twitter in the description as well. So Broly right here. He can attack, so that makes him pretty easy to calculate. He also doesn't have a whole lot going on. So activates entrance animation upon this character's entry once only, and for 1 turn from the character's entry turn, he gets 90% damage reduction as the first attacker in the turn. And then reduces damage by 70% in extreme class allies' chance performing a critical hit plus 50% as the second or third attacker in a turn. In extreme class allies key plus 2 and attack and defense plus 60%. So I believe the way this works is that the 90% damage reduction is in slot 1. The 70% damage reduction and extreme class allies crit support is in slots 2 or 3, and then just permanently on that turn, he does give extreme class allies key plus 2 and 60% attack and defense. So no matter what slot you put him in, this should apply to everyone. It's just the crit support is only in slot 2, and then you get a full 90% damage reduction in slot 1. So that is for 1 turn only. So they don't want you to stay in base form Broly very long, but that's okay. And then he just gets defense plus 200% at the start of turn. So in total, he's getting 260% defense. Doesn't really matter. So all we really need to know here is that. And then he's got prepared for battle. You know, he's got, these are his defense stats, 14,656, 11,656. We take all that all up here and we punch this into our, let me do that. Punch this into our calcs up here, and so you can see 14,656, 11,656, 200% leader skill. We just multiply by 5. Prepared for battle, we multiply by 1.05, and then start a turn 260%. So not the craziest start of turn stats ever, but he has 90% damage reduction in slot 1, and then he's got 70% in slots 2 or 3. So I think you'll be just fine. If you happen to have 40% around, that's what this side is. So this side is kind of vanilla. This side is with 40% support around, so that's how you can kind of differentiate between the two sides right here. That's true for both sets of calcs. So no support here, extra 40% support here. That way you guys can kind of get your bearings. So again, not the craziest stats ever, but he's got 90% damage reduction. So like whatever, you know, like it literally doesn't matter, right? Like he's going to be good in like Battlefield for a long time because of this. So anyway, his active skill, he can transform. It can be used whenever you want. So if you don't even care about the support, you just want to get Broly out immediately for a fight, you can just transform whenever you want. You just have the access to be Broly whenever. They said they did this to get around the naming convention, which is really cool. They actually said that live on the like little video that they did. They said this was directly to get around, you know, other characters with the same name. So good that they learned from the Fusion Zamasu debacle last year. This is very, very good. We like this. Plus, he's solid. I mean, you know, 90% damage reduction support. We like that. I imagine I'll be taking advantage out of base form Broly here, so that's cool. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. He gets defense on his super attack effect right here, only on his 12 key, which does kind of suck, but he does greatly stack attack on his 18 key, which is crazy. But yeah, only gets defense on his 12 key right here. He has a movie boss's 200% lead. I forgot to mention that earlier. He gets 260% defense at the start of turn. He gets 150% defense when performing a super attack, and then he gets an additional 200% defense in slot 1. And then down here, he gets an active skill 26% defense buff. So you guys can read the rest of the passive right here. Just know that he's good. He's got like guard in here. He's got damage reduction in here, all that sort of fun stuff. You guys can take the time to read that. I'm just going to jump over directly into the calcs because we have a lot to get through in this video, and people have told me that I spend way too much time like breaking down the cards and trying to make these videos too much. So now we're just hopping into the calcs here. So defense stat is the same. Leader skill is the same. I'm just using prepared for battle again as just like a baseline link. This guy doesn't really get too much from his links, so it doesn't really matter what you use right here. You could technically bump this up to 1.1 instead of 1.05 for shocking speed and prepared for battle, but it's not really going to make a super material difference on the calcs here. Again, prepared for battle. This is all the same basically, and then this is also the same. So as we saw, he does get 200% defense or 260% defense at the start of turn. But then if you put him in slot 1 before he attacks, additional defense plus 200% before attacking, and guard is the first attacker in the turn. So right here in slot 1, it'll go up to 460%. The thing is you will never actually see this number because this will activate as soon as the turn locks in if you put him in slot 1. So you'll never actually be able to see this 430k number, but that's what his defense will actually be in slot 1. So that's just what you'll see right there. And then he gets 150% on super attack. Now, once you attack, you do lose this, right? Because this is before attacking. This right here is before attacking. So as soon as this 150% activates right here, so this 150% when performing a super attack, once that activates, you lose your 200%. So this right here is actually just multiplied by this. It's this 260% multiplied by 2.5. That's how you would calculate that. So you can see it goes to 692. And then you do get 30% defense from your super attack effect. And then if you get an additional 12 key, it'll go up to 1.1. So this is what will happen right here. You do need to get 12 keys in order to get this extra defense. Obviously, you're going to want to get this guy some additionals. You know, he is guarding. He does have damage reduction, but, you know, if you're just getting an 18 key and you don't get any 12 keys, it's going to be a little bit spooky for this guy because this is what you're looking like if you do not get a 12 key super attack. So definitely want to make sure that you're getting the 12 keys. He does have some built into his passive. He does have launch an additional super attack as a second or third attacker in the turn, and then launches an additional attack as a high chance of becoming a super attack within the same turn after receiving an attack. So he does have additionals built into his passive, but you do want to make sure that he is getting these. I will probably build my Broly with additional in mind, personally. Additional and then dodge. You don't really need to give this guy crit. He's got a bunch of built-in crits, so I wouldn't really worry about crits so much. He does get an action break too, which is nice. But then he does get a permanent 26% attack and defense buff whenever you use his active skill. It can be used starting from his next attacking turn, so as soon as turn 3 or at the latest, like, you know, turn 5 or just, you know, the turn after you decide to use this guy's active skill. So that is pretty good. We definitely love to see that. That is some incentive to transform this Broly early. If you know it's going to be a really short fight, you might as well just get Legendary Super Saiyan Broly out on turn 1, and then you can go ahead and get the active skill on turn 3. So a little bit of skill into there. But what that does is it does give you a 26% buff, and that is a flat buff to all of the stats. So as you can see here, I'm basically just taking these stats and multiplying them all by 1.26, which is how I'm getting these numbers down here. So there we go. Those are the calcs for Broly. Let me know what you guys think about this guy. I know his raw numbers may not seem that insane, but he does have a lot of guard. He has a lot of damage reduction. He's got a lot of good stuff in his kit. So we'll see how this guy ends up panning out in the future. But for now, this is what we're looking like with Broly. Let me know what you guys think about him. Let's go ahead and move on to the Super Saiyan trio. So again, we can go back to schedule. We can click on these guys, and let's go ahead and do their stats next. These guys are a little bit more complicated to calculate. I will be honest with you. By the way, it's loading. I'm sorry. Here, in the meantime, you guys can look at here. We'll get the sharks on the screen while this loads. But these guys were a little bit harder to calculate. If it doesn't load, I'll switch over to Twitter. Hopefully, it's just taking a while because it's download night and everybody's getting on the site. Give me a second. I'll pause. We'll cut and we'll be right back. All right, there we go. So let me turn the sharks off here. Actually, I can keep that one on. Okay, so. They lead all-out struggle. Super Saiyans or Power of Wishes. Very good leader skill. Category key 3, 170% stats, and then movie heroes or connected hope get the additional 30%. That's pretty good. Their super attack effect, their 12 key, they raise attack for 1 turn, lower attack and defense. That's fine. And then their 18 key super attack is really good. They get a greatly raised attack and defense for 3 turns, so they do get 1 turn, like a 1 rotation stack of this. It won't count if you float them off, but if you keep them on rotation, then you'll be able to keep this stack up, which is really good. And then they give superclass allies attack and defense plus 30% for 1 turn. This is not self-excluded, so that means that they give themselves 80% defense in total, so that's really good. And then 50% of that will carry over onto the next turn, which is really, really cool. Their passive skill, 200% attack and defense at the start of turn, a bunch of bleh. They get a bunch of bleh. That's what that is. And then defense plus 30% when receiving an attack for every 3 key. So the way I believe this works is it'll be based on your key meter. So if your key meter is 24, you'll get a total of 240% because that would be 24 key divided by 3 is 8. 8 multiplied by 30% is 240% stats. So I believe that is how this will work. So that's what I'm rolling with at the moment. If that turns out to not be true, you guys can let me know, and I will get that fixed. And I'll issue new calcs, but let me know if that's not how that works. This will be multiplicative because it is when receiving an attack, so it'll be multiplicative with this right here. Then they get a whole bunch of other stuff, and then if there is another movie heroes or all-out struggle category ally attacking the same turn plus an additional damage reduction of 15% for 2 turns, or I'm sorry, plus an additional damage reduction of 15% and for 2 turns, all allies defense plus 77%. So if you're running 2 of these guys on the team, you'll have this constant 77% buff up for the entire team, which is really, really good. Let's go ahead and move over into the calcs right here so I can scroll down just a little bit right there. So here we go, Super Saiyan Goku, Trunks, and Gohan. And then again, this side is with 40% support. Let me get the Shark out of here. Shark, you're in the way. Thank you for getting out of there. I really appreciate you moving. So right here we have 14,044 defense. That comes from right down here. 14,044. 55% is 11,444, which you can see I got those numbers right there. Again, we multiply by 5 for the leader skill. Links 1.5 or 1.05 is the multiplier for that. Again, I'm just using prepared for battle, except for I think these guys, their only defensive link is prepared for battle, so it is what it is. They get 277% at the start of turn. That is again because they get 200% right here plus 77% right here, which is a total of 277%. I went ahead and just assumed max key for this, so 240% when receiving an attack. So you multiply this right here by 3.4, and then they get 80% on super attack on their first turn. So after their first turn, this is what we're looking like for their defense. And then I went ahead and did a second appearance on their own team. So this is assuming that you get one Goku, Trunks, and Gohan on one rotation, and another Goku, Trunks, and Gohan on another rotation. So whenever you get back to the first one on turn 3, you're going to have one stack up, and then you'll also have the 77% support buff up from the other Gohan, Trunks, and Goku unit. So that's what's going on there. That's why this is 354% now, is because it's 277%, but you have an extra 77% now from the other one because it's a 2-turn support buff. And then they also carry over their 3-turn defense stack from their 18 key, so that carries over right here. So they'd be at a start of turn defense of 502, 108. Again, that is taking this number right here, our links number. We're multiplying by 4.54 for the 354%. Then we're multiplying that by 1.5. That's a separate multiplicative buff, again, because this right here is its own multiplicative line. So part of we don't carry over the 30% for 1 turn, but we do carry over the 50%. So we carry that over to right here. That's where that number's coming from. And then again, we do get 240% when receiving an attack. So our defense will jump up to 1.707. And then right here, we do get another 80% on super attack. So we have to divide out the original 1.5 that we got, and then we add it into this right here. So it's a total of 2.3. And so this is what our defense gets to right there. So if you guys are curious about any of that, ask me a question down below. Otherwise, you guys can see the numbers, try to back into it yourself. I tried to show all the formulas on screen so you guys can figure out where the numbers are coming from. You can see it up here. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Then we move into the standby, which is just Super Saiyan Goku. This is what this should say. My bad. This should just be Super Saiyan Goku right here once we're in the standby. Small error on my part, my bad. So the defense stat isn't going to change. The standby condition, I guess I should read that off real quick. Standby for 3 turns. This is the charge count, all that blah, blah, blah. Can be activated when HP is 77% or less, or starting from the 5th turn. I wish this was 4th turn, but, whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, Super Saiyan Goku right here. This guy's a little bit complicated to calculate, but we'll go over it. So attacking defense plus 259% and guards all attacks. That's fine. He gets a bunch of key, and then he gets that same thing of defense plus 30% when receiving an attack for every 3 key. So that's good. Like, he gets that same sort of effect. And then he gets this really annoying part. Like, this is annoying for calculations, but he gets 20% defense per key sphere obtained, and all allies get 7% defense for 2 turns per physical key sphere obtained. So that means if you get physical key spheres with this guy, he'll get a total of 27% defense per key sphere obtained, which will add into this 259% buff right here. And then keep in mind, he'll also carry over the 50% stack that you have for 3 turns as the Goku, Trunks, and Gohan, and then he'll also carry over the 77% support from the other Super Saiyan, Goku, Gohan, and Trunks on the other rotation. He'll have that active as well. So if we go back over to my calcs, that's what I'm trying to show right here. So defense, links, and leader skill don't really change. And then this right here, so we have 259% at the start of turn because that's what he gets, and then he gets 77% right there. Then we have our 1-turn stat carryover of 50%. So this, again, right here is 259% plus 77% is our multiplier right there. Then we multiply that by 1.5. And then this is a little bit more complicated, so you can look at that formula right there. But we do get 27% added to this buff right here. Per physical key sphere obtained. I decided to go for 6. So what we're seeing right here is the 4.36, and then we're adding 6 times 0.27 to that, and then we're multiplying all that by 1.5. So that's what's going on right there. So definitely the defense stats right here aren't super impressive, but they're not really meant to be. This guy has damage reduction, and, he's just kind of meant to be here, right? Like, it's not really... maybe it's a little bit risky to run this guy like this, but he is going to have 59% damage reduction, and he is guarding. So, I think he'll be fine with this level of stats. So you may not want him to eat like a super attack. You may have to protect him a little bit, but overall, I think he will be fine. So let me know what you guys think about this Goku, Gohan, and Trunks. Let me know what you guys think about the standby Goku, and then let me know what you guys think about the Super Saiyan, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Again, the calcs are available on Twitter, and by the way, thank you to Kuwa Designs for posting these HD arts. I definitely really appreciate that. These arts always come in super clutch for like thumbnails and just like general videos and posts like this. And you guys, I know, like to see the HD arts. So thank you to Kuwa Designs for posting those. I, appropriated them here for my calcs. Let me know what you guys think about the calcs. Let me know what you guys think about Broly and Goku, Gohan, and Trunks. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.